Hello and welcome to the Propelling Business Excellence podcast. Today I'm very excited. I have the founder of Vivacelle Bio. So thank you very much, Dr. Simpkins, for joining us here. Really appreciate your time. I know you're very, very busy. So thank you for taking the time out and helping our viewers learn more about the business excellence. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, about your introduction, and what does your company do?
Sure. I am a trauma surgeon and critical care physician. I've been doing this for about 40 years. And during that time, I've always had a research laboratory. As a trauma surgeon, I'm often on that line between life and death, dealing with very, very serious illness for which medicine has no answer at this point.
Mhm.
So my research has always been on that line between life and death, trying to push death back forward and bring people back to their families. Because I have to talk to families and hopefully tell them that their loved one is coming home. That's what it's all about for me as a physician.
And how do you do that? I think give us a little bit more. I know a little bit more information, but why don't you give us a little bit more context on what do you
Okay,
do?
I'm also a scientist, and here at the University of Missouri, Kansas City School of Medicine, I have a extensive laboratory, and
Mm-hmm.
I've always had laboratories wherever I've been. Um, and it's always been focused on trying to save lives, trying to to rescue people, bring them back after some severe injury or some severe infection. And we have succeeded in that with some of our recent developments.
That's amazing. So is it that when people have died, you're bringing them back to life?
That is one of the things yes, we're on that line between life and death. And we are, if they've died, we want to be able to bring them back to life.
That's amazing.
We
That's
don't
like
want to accept death. We
never
can't.
heard of. It's like a godly thing.
Well, God has given us the knowledge to venture into this area.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, Dr. Simpkins, should we show the video now about the rat?
Sure,
Is this
sure.
a good time? Maybe
This
if you
is
can comment on what we are seeing as well, I think that'll be really helpful.
well, actually, the military provided the funding for this research because the most common cause of possibly preventable death on the battlefield is severe blood loss.
Uh-huh.
What happens is the warfighter loses blood very rapidly in the battlefield because these are horrific injuries.
Right.
And, there's gunfire all over the place and no one can help them. And by the time they get to the medical treatment facility, they have no pulse, they're not breathing, and they're clinically dead. So we developed this rat model of clinical death so that we could learn how to bring these warfighters back from clinical death and they would survive their injuries. So we can go
That's
ahead and show
amazing.
that.
That's a really great gift to provide. So I'm going to share my screen number 3 here. Dr. Simpkins, if you can give some commentary and explanation on what's happening,
Sure.
that'll be really amazing.
Okay, this is in my laboratory. You can see the tubing at the right upper end of the image that's delivering anesthesia to the rat. The rat has on the right side, you see a wound near the right, your right, and the rat's left leg. You see a cannula there that is measuring blood pressure. One of the scientists in my lab is placing the catheter into the right femoral artery, and he's going to remove blood just like a warfighter loses blood rapidly. And he's going to remove the blood to the point where the rat is no longer breathing and is clinically dead. You can see the rat's chest moving up and down now. The breathing is becoming slower and slower. And as he removes blood, he's removing 40 to 50% of the blood volume of the rat. And he's going to keep removing the blood until the rat is clinically dead. Now the animal has no breathing. And um, if you were to feel a pulse, the animal has no pulse. And we're going to replace it with our product, these phospholipid nanoparticles. And he's going to inject it and watch the animal's chest. The animal started breathing again. The animal came back from clinical death and is now alive again. It's going to replace all of the blood volume with our product, with VBI1, that's what we call it. And when he finishes injecting it, we observe the rat for 12 hours under anesthesia. We don't have to give any blood. We don't have to give any medication. We only give the rat our product. And then after 12 hours, we close these wounds and we observe the rat for 30 days. We test the cognitive function with a Y maze, and we test the motor function with a force plate actimeter. We find no deficit whatsoever. In fact, these rats tend to be better than rats that have been infused with their own blood or that are just haven't had anything done to them at all. So we're very enthused by this. We think that this would be something that warfighters could be given for the battlefield, but also civilians from and after a very bad car accident or after an injury due to an assault of some type. They could be given this on the battlefield or on the street or in the hospital emergency area, and we could save a lot of lives that way. You don't have to type and cross it like you do blood. You cannot carry, it does not carry disease, and it's stable at room temperature. You don't have to refrigerate it like you do blood. Blood has to be refrigerated, and its shelf life is only 42 days. The shelf life of our product is at least 1 year. We're still testing the stability. And you don't have to do a lot of processing and screening for disease. So we think that actually for most blood loss, there really wouldn't be a need to give blood anymore, that we should give our product and we could save a lot of time that way and bring people back, even if they're dead. Of course, we wouldn't have to wait until they're dead. We can give it before that. But even at the extreme that we see here, we can bring people back. And that's one of the things we're striving to do.
That's amazing. I mean, this is not something I have ever heard of.
There's one other issue. Blood actually causes what's called a reperfusion injury. And we look at tissue sometimes after 12 hours, and we look at the brain, the lung, the heart, the kidneys, and we find that blood, if we give blood, that blood actually causes reperfusion injury to the organs. The VBI1 does not do that. It protects the organs. And that's another important aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, bringing people back from death to life. And how successful has this medicine been? Like, what's your success rate?
When we do this in the rat, it's 100%. When we inject it in the artery, when we inject it in the vein, it's 40%. So it's very effective, very reliable.
Nice, nice, nice. And where are you in terms of your drug life cycle here? Like
we've gotten permission from the FDA to do a phase 2 trial. We're in an equity fundraise now so that we'll be able to do a trial. We're seeking funding for that. Or we're also applying for grants from the military and from the NIH. So one way or the other, we'll get it funded and we'll get it to the market.
I guess who are you looking to connect in terms of funding here? I know you mentioned you already have investors that are interested in, right?
Yes, yes.
Commercializing this
We're
medicine here.
we're raising $20 million now. And part of that will be to support this study on this product. We have other products too. And we do have quite a few that are interested. But we'd like to look at all possibilities. And we welcome everyone that would be interested in an equity investment.
Hmm.
or licensing even. If someone would like to license it, a pharmaceutical
Right.
company would like to license it, we would talk about that also. I'm not the business person. Our business person's our CEO, so more details come from him.
That's why we are here as a business coach to help out with the
Right,
business part
right,
of things.
right.
I understand. Thank you. So, yeah, we'll connect on that offline for sure. But really, I think you're looking to connect with investors who may be interested in funding this opportunity here, bringing people back from death to life, and also maybe possibility of basically connecting with bigger pharmaceutical companies that may be interested in funding this. Is that correct, Dr. Simpkins?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay, um, that's amazing. And what should be the focus areas of those pharmaceutical companies, I guess, that may be interested in funding this type of, and this seems like a huge impact, right? If you can bring people back from death to life, it's a
We think the
huge
market,
impact on life
yes,
people.
we think that all the blood that's given could be replaced by this. Rather, this is much safer than blood, and it doesn't cause the reperfusion injury to the organ, to the vital organs that blood causes.
Yeah,
The impact would the market itself. We've calculated. Have made a very conservative estimate of the market, but the market is quite sizable. It's about $8 billion a year for this area. Of course, most important is the fact that it'll save lives, but
hmm,
we think it would, the market's about 8 billion for this product.
I see. Okay, amazing. And I guess what inspired you to start your business? I know you started 40 years back. And how long have you been working with this specific dog that brings people back from death to life? I know you have studied on rats.
Right. I've been a surgeon for 40 years, but the business only goes back to 2013.
Okay.
And when I made this discovery, first, I was pretty much like a lot of academics. I wasn't thinking about business. I was just thinking about
Mhm.
doing science and saving lives and what I
Yes.
could do to help patients that I couldn't help before. But then once I got the first patent, we have 58 patents now. Once we got the first patent, um, I needed to find people who knew how to do this, to commercialize it, to get it to the
Right.
market. It could help
Right.
somebody. You
Right.
just can't give it to people. You have to test it. And I needed people who knew how to do that.
Right.
So I sought people. Some people came to me, and we put together a fantastic team, very experienced team. Harbin DeShield, who's our CEO, he has a PhD in biochemistry, and he's also a patent attorney. And we have Krishna Talluri, who's our chief medical officer. She's an
Hmm.
emergency physician, and she's also been in the business of product development and the regulatory space for a long time.
Hmm.
And then we have Mukesh Kumar, who has done probably over 100 clinical trials all over the world, and
Oh,
he has
wow.
a PhD also. So we have a very experienced, very highly trained um, management team. And then
Hmm.
we have many advisors and who also give us advice uh, as to how we should proceed. But that's what I had to find because I didn't know how to do any of this business aspect of it. I've learned a lot, but there's a whole lot more that I don't know about. And fortunately, we're a very good team that has been very effective. And we've moved this product along, getting the FDA clearance to do the phase two. The FDA actually let us skip phase one and go directly to phase two because of
Nice.
the known product. This product has the known safety of the kinds of nanoparticles that we're using. Uh,
Hmm.
and we also have a product for septic shock. I guess most people know septic shock is blood poisoning.
Hmm.
We have a product for that also that is now in clinical trial. We had a very successful phase two, and now we're in phase three. And this may get onto the market by sometime mid 26. We'll be able to get that on the market. The market for that is about $5 billion. So we're very happy about the success that we've had with that phase two clinical trial.
Yeah. So what is this drug called? The one that we were injecting in the rat, the one that
We
we were
call
seeing.
it VBI1, VBI for Vivacelle Bio,
We
and
was
one because it's the first in that family of drugs. We have other derivatives of it, but this is first of that particular line of drugs for hemorrhagic shock.
okay. So Vivacelle Bio one,
Vivacelle Bio, we could just call it VBI1.
VBI one. Okay, got it. Thank you very much. I think this is a very amazing story. So, in terms of running a business, I guess what are some misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Well, the biggest misconception for me was that I needed to get the right people. Um, I didn't distinguish the biotech startup business from other businesses.
Hmm.
And people came to me to help me. They were really sincere. They were successful business people, but they didn't know anything about this type of business.
Yeah.
And so um, I think I spent a lot of time with them. I would present to potential investors and they would say, "We love your technology, but we don't care for your management team." And I didn't know what they were talking about. So I needed to get the right people who actually make their living doing regulatory work in the regulatory space, make
Right,
their living with intellectual property.
right.
Uh, and we have that now. But I think I wasted some time with that. Um, the that was the biggest misconception for me. Um, the rest of it was pretty straightforward. We just do the right thing. You know, as a business person, your integrity is important, and ethics is important. As a physician, also as ethics, integrity. Um, you know, anybody can look at any nickel of what we've spent, and we're you can look at all you want. You know, we're fine. We're an open book, and that's how we operate. That's our brand. Our brand is honesty and ethics and doing the right thing for people and their families.
Mhm. So basically the biggest misconception is that you you basically had to figure out and make sure that you have the right people in the business. Is that?
Right, right. And the other thing too, and I think initially I tended, if you're a founder or an owner,
Mm-hmm,
and I consider the others who came in 2013 to be founders too. So they're co-founders also. The
mm-hmm.
people that I mentioned have been there for a while.
Right, right, right,
And they couldn't have been done without them.
right,
But I think that you still, even though I'm a scientist and a physician and don't know much about business, you still have to understand every aspect of it. You
right.
have to understand what a convertible note is. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand what equity investing is. You have to all these terms what M&A. You have to understand all of these things, and you have to take the time to do that. I wanted to stay in the lab and take care of my patients, stay in the lab, and let other
To
people.
the work. Yeah.
Right, right. But that you have to really be a part of it. You have to be a
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
If you're at the top of it, you have to be a part of it, and you can't even because you're the only one that can integrate everything. I can
Mm-hmm.
integrate what's going on in the lab with what's going on in the business side of things. And also, there's a matter again of what's best for patients.
Right.
Uh, and I insisted on materials that were best for patients. Not that we could get away with it, but that was best for patients.
So you had to learn a lot about the business. What would you advise, like if people have to really run their business and do the work? And this is what we see also in the business coaching world is that they know how to do the work of the business when people get started. Like if it's a restaurant owner, they know how to cook, and if it's a manufacturing company, they know how to build some of the items that they're building, but they don't really know how to do the actual part of the business, like in terms of getting investors involved, getting sales done, getting the marketing strategy done, or setting yourself up from the competition. So, would you advise them getting some sort of a business coach so that
Absolutely,
they can?
absolutely. Because we had getting one person at the very beginning who knew the other persons that we needed to get and knew the steps. getting one individual at first. You're not gonna end up with one individual, but you need
Right.
someone who knows the steps,
Mm-hmm.
knows the process, knows the pros and cons, who has been there before,
Right.
who knows how to approach regulatory agencies, for example, with
Right.
us, how to press, I guess, with other types of businesses, how to
Mm-hmm.
deal with the uh, manufacturers, who, in our case, intellectual property, how to protect intellectual property,
Mm-hmm.
all those kinds of things. You have to have somebody, a coach, someone who really knows, who's done it before, and who can guide you and help you make choices as to who you should, just in terms of how much equity you should give away, how to set up your equity structure. I knew nothing about that. Uh,
Right.
uh, you turn this phone off.
Yeah.
Uh,
Running
so
the business is different, right? Running the business is
no, no,
different than
like I
doing
said,
the
yeah,
work
I
of the
can do the work.
business.
I
Yeah.
can do the science,
Yeah.
but the business aspect, I was totally clueless. And it's by the grace of God that I got the right people, because you can get the wrong people too.
Yeah.
Get the wrong people that will take advantage of you.
Right. Right.
I mean, there's sharks. That's like surfing. You surf, you ride a wave and you take advantage of it, but there's rocks and there's sharks out there too.
Yeah.
You slip
Absolutely.
and make a mistake. So you need
Right.
somebody that has a track record and that has your best interest in mind.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Thank you very much for sharing that because we see that with a lot of companies, whether it's law firms or manufacturing or technology companies. They're the same problem. They know how to do the business, do the work of the business than running the business. So, highly recommend other people who are considering to make sure they have the right advisors, right people, right coaches to help them grow the business.
It's essential.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I love your business that you're trying to save lives here, which is also at the core of my heart. I love helping companies that serve those patients. So I know you're very very busy, Dr. Simpkins. So how do you maintain this whole work-life balance? I mean, do you have any personal rituals or habits that you enforce to make sure that you're staying sane?
Well, I tell you, one thing that helps me is
Mhm.
having a very wonderful relationship with my wife,
Okay.
and it's someone to look over you and watch over you, and to notice how you're doing, and you got to listen to them too. And I think that's very important. Helped me a lot, being married to the right person, um, and I also, um, the doing the things you love. Um, just do them. I love jazz. I love to write. I play, actually, I love mathematics, and I love quantum mechanics, and that's my hobby.
Ah,
Uh,
nice.
yeah, I love quantum mechanics. And when I took quantum mechanics, thought there were some problems with it. And so I've been trying to fix those problems since then. And, and then I'm trying to, I'm just having fun trying to resolve the disparity between uh, the theory of general relativity and quantum mechanics, and trying to
Yeah.
resolve it. I mean, I'm just dabbling and but it's just fun for me. So I'm just having fun. Do the
Okay.
things you love to do. Just do them. And
Yeah.
don't, and someone watching over you knows that when you are getting into a tunnel, and or your mental status is degrading, because things can be very stressful. And I would say my wife has saved my life on a couple of occasions. And this, just from various stressors and so forth. And, let's go take a trip. Let's go to Ghana. We took a trip to Ghana, and that saved my life. And just having someone to watch over you, that's so important.
Yeah,
And
that's
then you
really
have your
nice.
family. I mean, family can be complicated now, you know, but
Yeah.
but if you have some family that really cares about you, some cousins that love you, and we have that too. They're investors. Our family, we have family as investors. We have friends. We have some wealthy individuals that we didn't know. And so, but the family though is really, really important.
Hmm.
And they hung with us through the entire time.
Hmm.
So I hope that answer is helpful to somebody.
Yeah. Thank you very much. You're lucky to have such a nice wife who looks over
Yes,
you.
I
So
am. Oh, yes, I am.
yeah,
I tell
that's
them every
that's
day.
case in a lot of people's lives, but sometimes it's not. So
Yes, yes.
yeah, that's great. So, Dr. Simpkins, I guess you talked about some of your future plans here. What obstacles do you anticipate with your future plans in terms of getting the drugs commercialized or any other future things that you're planning for your business?
The only obstacle we have is financial, raising money to do what we do. Our science has been solid all the way through. Um, we have it's taken us longer because of raising funds, um, and that's that looks like that's about to be alleviated, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
because our clinical trial was so successful. We had 100% efficacy from 6 different hospitals. We
Wow.
didn't select the patients. We didn't give the drug. They uploaded the data, and that's what we had. And it really changed the status of those very, very, very sick patients. They were the sickest patients in the ICU.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be changing now. But that's the whole struggle with us. Our science has been solid. And I think that, okay, the other things, let me try to think of the other. So we don't really, in terms of our product works. We're happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you go into clinical trial and the clinical trials don't work.
Right.
But our clinical trial was very successful. Let me see. Um, other obstacles. Um, I mean, even we. I don't really see any obstacles at this point, other than maybe you could tell me some that I haven't anticipated,
Uh-huh.
but I don't see any other than that at this point. It looks like we're about to get through that one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so I think the obstacles, yeah, you mentioned about the funding, etc. And we talked about, how you can leverage your connection. So that's something I think we're going to discuss offline, that you may possibly be not ignoring is the right word, but may not be aware of, but we can explore to see how we can extend that connections list for you
I really
for
appreciate
the funding part, right? Because this is amazing work that you're doing. Your product is so successful.
it. Thank you.
I really hope that it gets commercialized and gets approved, so a lot of people can have their lives saved. So this is amazing, amazing impact. So we'll talk offline on that, how we can increase your connections for that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is very innovative. So I don't want to ask you the question about how do you stay innovative, but are you using like some sort of AI to help out with the business, or what's going on that end?
I read a lot about the science, develop a lot of insight, and a connection just gets made in my mind. I just that's it, just it just comes. It just comes. And um, I mean, um, I guess seek and you should. But actually, basically, I think reading a lot of the literature, reading, delving into it, thinking about it, um, going straight to the point, not being knowing what exists already, but trying to put the problem before you and go right to the point of the matter. Sometimes, for example, with these nanoparticles are particles that are usually used as carriers. You put medications into them, various drugs go into the liposomes or into the micelles, and they're used to carry things. But what I did, I looked at their properties, the properties of the particles themselves, and realized that the particles had properties that would make them useful in medical conditions. And how that happened, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, really. It just happened. Don't know.
So are you, I think my question was more about, we had a lot of us are talking about artificial intelligence. Is that used in your business somewhere, or
I
have you
don't think
thought about how does that impact
I don't think
what you're doing in terms of science?
artificial intelligence is bounded by the intelligence that created it. And so the thing about patents is patents are the result of of a development that could not have come from what is already known. They called a person who's skilled in the art. A person skilled in the art of making a particular type of machine, let's say, that runs on gas or electricity or something. No one would think of a machine that um, ran on something like, let's say, just air maybe or a toothpaste. I don't know, you know, but some idea like that that actually works. Something that no one would have thought of, no one would have considered it. Given A, B, C, D, you would never have gone to Z or to some other thing that's not even in the alphabet. That's the kind of thing that I don't think AI can do that. I think AI is going to reflect the concepts of what um, of the people that created it.
Yeah, because this is not known yet, so you don't think AI can actually help you with any aspects of
Not
this.
without creative. They can help us. They can help us go through the literature. If I want to know, if I
Yeah.
want to analyze every article on a particular subject, the AI can quickly go through all of that and tell me what exists. Okay, it can assemble and collate and sort things out.
Are
But
you
it
doing that by any chance or no?
no, it's a good thing. We could apply it that way. We could
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
I go
Yeah, I
through
would
the
highly recommend doing that because there's so much applications of AI. If it save, I mean, it should save you a lot of time. I don't
it
know how
would.
much time you're spending time on the literature, but we can talk offline on that.
I think that's a good idea because I spend a lot of time going to databases,
Yeah,
searching the literature to see what's there,
right,
reading about the current state of knowledge. AI could hasten that process.
right, right. Yeah, that's great. So, in terms of advice for the aspiring entrepreneurs, or I guess the businesses that are having or facing challenges, what advice would you offer to them?
I would offer them the advice of finding a person who will advise you as to how you should proceed with realizing your dream, your vision. Um, there is a practical side of the execution of everything. And you need to find someone who can do that. That's the key thing. That's the advice I would give them. And the other part of a piece of advice would be understand everything about your business, everything that's brought to you, everything that comes up, understand it so that you can participate in the discussion and synthesize all the information, what you know as the inventor or as the scientist or as the chef, if it's a restaurant, as well as what the business person is telling you. You have to synthesize that to make the choices.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
can do that
Okay.
kind of thing together with someone.
Uh-huh. So maybe having some sort of business advisor to help them,
No question about it.
and also the knowing the parts of the business. Yeah.
Right.
Great advice. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Simpkins. Really, really appreciate your time here. Is there anything else you would like to add to the podcast?
Oh, I would like to say all the best of luck to all of your audience and your listeners. And thank you so very much for your kind invitation and the opportunity to speak with you now as well as after the show.
Yeah, thank you very much again. I mean, I really appreciate, I know you're very, very busy. Really appreciate you taking the time to talk to our viewers and helping them understand more aspects of the business here. And really love your technology about saving lives. And that's all I want to do. So thanks so much again.
You're very welcome.